Hi, I'm Veronica and welcome to Jersey City Pilates. For today's class, we're going to need a yoga block or a sturdy book. We're going to use this to stand on or put it in between our inner thighs for a little extra feedback. And this class is going to focus primarily on lower body. And we'll get started standing when you're ready. And then just have your feet be more or less hip distance. And then just make sure that they're actually underneath your hips and not underneath your shoulders. You want them straight down from your hips. And then you're just going to take a big inhale, feel your body expand in all 360 degrees, and then just float up onto your toes as though you're being pulled up by the crown of your head, like a little string, and then slowly come back down. And then again, coming all the way back up on your inhale, and then exhale, resist back down. Again, think like you're being pulled from the crown of your head, and then try to go more up then forward, which is much easier said than done. And then again, just coming up onto your toes, feel them spread to give you a wide base of support, and then slowly resist back down. And then here you can bring your hands onto your hips, and you're just going to soften your knees, and then hinge at the hips so that the crown of the head moves away from your tailbone in a nice flat back, and then you're going to lift and stand all the way up. So think like you're just hinging right at the hip, bending forward, and then resist to stand back up. You may get a bit of a stretch in the hamstrings. Just make sure that your knees are not locked out. You can have them be super bent or a little bent. 2 more just like this. And then back up. Last one. And then here, find a little extra length and then fold yourself all the way forward, hanging over your legs. And then walk your hands over to the right, gazes to your left leg. And then walk yourself over to the left, gaze to your right leg. And then just let yourself go all the way, taking a nice big inhale here. And then on your exhale, start to peel yourself all the way up. Feel your sitting bones reach down the backs of your legs, and then stack your spine all the way up. Crown of your head comes to rest on top of your spine. And then again, nod your chin around all the way down. Ribs toward your hips, knees are soft. And then this time you're going to come onto the fingertips on your left hand and open your right arm either all the way out to the side or just bring it to your low back and twist gently. And then come all the way forward. Same thing now to the left. Either arm all the way up or just to your low back. And then back down one more time to each side. Waking up your spine a little. And all the way down. Last one. And then come all the way back down. And then from here, bend your knees, walk your hands underneath you, and come to all fours. Have the crown of your head and tailbone still reaching in opposite directions. And then from here, you're just going to increase the distance between your ribs and your hips and lengthen through the front of your body, finding a nice extension here. And then curl the tailbone under, starting at the base of your spine. Curl the tailbone under and then round up through the mid-back, upper back, and then drop the head as the last thing. And then start to move the hips away from your ribs, finding that extension. And then think about pulling the heels of your hands toward your knees ever so gently, engaging around the shoulders, and then back up into a nice rounded spine. 2 more times like this. Going nice and slowly. If you're getting a nice stretch through the front of your body and your extension, pause there. If you're getting a nice stretch in your rounded back, pause there. Last time. And then coming all the way under. And then bring your knees nice and wide. And then sit back onto your heels and walk your fingers out in front of you. Take a nice big inhale here. And really think about expanding your ribs in all directions. So back up towards the ceiling, ribs to the side, and then ribs as well towards the floor. Just pay attention if your shoulders want to move a bunch. Or if you're really breathing into your rib cage rather than a nice shallow breath into your upper chest only. One more breath here. And then coming back to all fours. Bring your knees back underneath you. And then from here, you're just going to slide your right leg out behind you. And then float that leg up, bringing it in line so that you're getting a little bit of hip extension. And then tap that leg down. And then float it back up. And down. And lift. And down. Good. Reaching so long through the foot so that your leg just floats up. Thinking about that lift from the back of the leg where it meets the glute. For 4, 3, 2, keeping your weight even through your hands. Last one, pause with your leg lifted, flex the foot, and then send the palm of the foot, the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. Just thinking about a little squeeze through the back of the leg, a little open through the front of the hip. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. And now you're going to cross and internally rotate that leg. Tap your left thigh and then bring your leg back to parallel. So tap the left thigh with the knee and then rotate to parallel. A little internal rotation and neutral. Internal and neutral. 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. Extend the leg long, and then from here, tap the foot back down, lengthen through the left arm. Fingertips touch the floor, and then you're gonna float up opposite arm, opposite leg, and then tap it down, and lift, and down. Drawing your right rib toward your left hip, left rib towards your right hip to help give you a little bit of a sling through the front of your body to help support you. For 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, float your left arm down, right leg down, and then we're going to switch to the other side. So from here, extend the left leg out behind you, really open through the back of the knee, and then float that leg up and tap it down. Check in on your elbows, make sure that you're not hyperextended. They have a little bit of softness in them. And lengthen through the head. You can obviously drop down and check out your leg from underneath you if you'd like, but try not to leave your head hanging here. And up and back down. 4 more. 2. Last one, flex the foot, reach the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling, and just pulse it up an inch and an inch. You'd almost think that you're just squeezing your glute and hamstring, and you're not even moving that leg. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Internally rotate, tap the left knee to the right calf, and then bring it back to parallel. And then down, and up, and down, and up. For 5. Again, checking in your spine, making sure you haven't started to sink down. You're in a nice supported position through the torso. For 3, 2, and last one. Pause with that leg lifted, extend it long, tap it down. Bring your right arm out in front of you. Move your block out of the way if you need, and then float the right arm, left leg. And lift. And lift. 8 more. Moving the arm and leg at about the same rate. You can rotate so that your thumb is reaching up towards the ceiling to help give a little bit of opening through the front of the chest so that shoulder isn't creeping up by your ear. 3. 2 more. And last one. Bring your knee and hand underneath you. Take one nice cat-cow here. And then round the spine. And then take your block with you. And you're going to sit your feet out in front of you and the block in between your thighs. So from here, block or book, if you have a book instead of a block, give it a little squeeze. Think that the squeeze and the little lift is coming from a little lift in your pelvic floor rather than squeezing from the knees. And you want the block relatively close to your center. Feet can be away from you. And then stack your spine up nice and tall. Really think that you're rooted down through your two sitting bones. And reach your arms out in front of you. Give that block a little squeeze and then curl the tailbone under. Thinking about separating your body from the block, opening through the front of the hips. Coming halfway down, giving the block a little squeeze, and then lifting yourself all the way back up to that nice tall position. And then again, curl the tailbone under. Find space first in the front of your hips and then down halfway. And then uncurl your spine and then stack yourself all the way back up. 4 more like this. Giving that block a little squeeze at the bottom and lift and halfway down and up. Last one. We're going to stay down. So only come so far down that you can comfortably stay here. And then take a nice big inhale. Feel your ribs expand. Exhale. Feel everything draw together and give you a little bit more support. And you're going to give the block a little squeeze for 10. Nothing changes unless you want to try to go a little bit lower here. But wherever you are, your abdominals are drawing in rather than pressing out. As in, you're breathing, they're working, and you're not fighting them. For 4, 3, 2, last one, and then come down an inch, and then up an inch, give a squeeze. Release and lower down an inch, squeeze, come up. Lift, lower, squeeze, and up. Release, lower, squeeze, and up. 4 more like this. 3. Breathing, keeping your shoulders nice and relaxed. 2. And last one. And then lower yourself all the way down. You can bring your arms up overhead, keeping that block in between your thighs, but you may need to just press your thighs into the ground so the block pops up a little. From here, bring your hands overhead, keeping your back ribs connected to the floor. And then as you start to bring your arms forward, feel like you're pressing them against something, engaging through the back, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up, and then lower all the way back down, let the arms come overhead. And then again, press down into something, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up, shoulder blades are off the floor, and lowering back down. 2 more. And up. And last one. Pause here, take an inhale with those shoulder blades off the floor. Exhale, curl the tailbone under, even more, round up and over the block. Bend your knees if you need. And then give yourself a little rest here. Take a second to get a little stretch. And then lift the arms in line with the ears, round your spine all the way back down. Curl the tailbone under, space through the front of your hips. Low back, and then your upper back, arms come overhead. We're going to do 2 more roll-ups here. Giving that block a little extra squeeze, making sure our pelvic floor and inner thighs are along for the ride. And arms overhead. Last time we're going to come up, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. Ribs draw towards your hips. Think about being pulled back and rounding over a beach ball. And then you're going to roll right back down. Open through the front of your hips, then sacrum, then low back. And then your upper back just finds its place. Good. From here, you're going to keep that block in between your thighs. You can readjust a little if you need. And then you are going to bring your hands behind your head, or you can reach them up towards the sky, your choice. Planting your feet into the floor, take a nice big inhale, and then exhale, slide your ribs toward your hips and coming up into an abdominal curl here. And then slowly lower all the way back down. And squeeze that block as you come up. And then resist back down. Making sure that you're not pressing your chin into your chest. You're really just focusing on that slide of your ribs down towards your hips. And back down. 3 more. 2. And last one, pause here at the top. If this becomes too much, you can always lower your upper body down. You're going to take a nice big inhale. Exhale, feel the hinge of your hips. Keep the feet heavy and bring the knees up towards the ceiling. And then from here, same thing. Feet are staying close to your butt. Knees are pointing towards the ceiling, and now you're going to let your thighs fall away from you. Give that block a squeeze. Exhale and bring it back in. Inhale, let it fall away. Exhale, squeeze and bring it back in. And release. And back in. Making the range of motion one that works for you. And as I said, you can always just put your head down. 3 more. 2. And last one. Good. And then from here, keep your legs where they are, but everyone can lower their head down. And then your knees are going to stay up towards the ceiling. Arms are going to be down by your side or out to a T, your choice. Taking an inhale here, and then you're going to lower your legs away from you. Just that inch or 2. And this time you're going to bring them up and over towards the right side. And then release them away from you in the center. And then up and over to the right. You may need to push their block away if you're bringing your legs in close enough that the block is poking you in the stomach. And away. And up and in over to that right shoulder. 4 more. 3. Making sure you're breathing. The single most important thing you can do. 2. Last one. Good. Come to the center. And then over to the left. And let them come away. And then resist. Up and over to the left. Your hips are still staying more or less on the ground, even though your knees are coming up and over to the left. This is not a hips off the ground exercise necessarily. 3. 2. And last one over to the left. Good. And then lower your legs all the way down. Torso and arms can stay where they are. Block stays where it is. Just make sure your feet are a good distance from your glutes so that they're not too far away. We're going to go into bridges and open up our hips. Curl the tailbone under. Find that opening through the back, lower back. And then keep that tuck of the pelvis. Curl yourself all the way up. Find the opening through the front of the hips. And then find the connection between your heels and your shoulders, engaging through the back of the leg. And then curl yourself down 1 vertebrae at a time. And release. And then again, ribs draw towards your hips. Tailbone tucks under. Peel yourself up. Shoulder blades stay on the floor. Open through the front of the hips. Feel the heels slide towards your shoulders. And then lowering all the way back down. And release. 1 more time like this. Going nice and slowly, really getting a good stretch through your back. And then find that nice base of support. Think like you're going to press the feet an inch through the floor and then half an inch back towards you. And then from here, you're just going to drop the hips an inch and then lift them up. And drop an inch and lift. And drop. And lift. 6 more. 5. Think about the pelvic floor, giving a little squeeze on that block. 3. 2, collarbone is nice and wide. Pause here at the top. Dip the right hip, lift the left. So you're twisting your pelvis over to the right side, rotating rather than twisting, I guess. And over to the left. And that block is just sort of coming along with you for the ride for 6. 4. 3. 2. Last one. Pause here in the center. And from here, you're just going to give the block a little squeeze and squeeze and squeeze for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 more, 3, 2, Last one, and then peel yourself down one vertebrae at a time. Grab that block, and you're gonna take it out from between your thigh. And you're gonna bring your right leg into tabletop, and then your left leg, and then you're gonna curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. You're gonna plant your block against your, your right thigh. You can do it whatever direction you want. And then you're gonna bring your left hand behind your head and rotate over towards that left side. Your right hand can stay behind your head if you'd like as well. And you're just gonna extend that left leg long, squeezing the block between your elbow and your knee. And then bring your left leg back in. And then extend. You can go as low as you want, but making sure that you're keeping that rotation and your abdominals are not getting hard when they press up. You're breathing as you move. 3 more. Keep pressing your elbow and torso and leg all into that block, creating a little extra resistance. 2 more. And last one. Good, and then come to the center, and then lower all the way down. Give your upper body a rest for 1 second. Take the block out. Now you're gonna put it on the left leg. Hand behind the head on the right side, curl up and over. Make sure the knees are more or less over your hips or slightly closer to you. Press your right side into the block, left thigh into the block, and then extend that right leg now and bring it back in. Staying in that bit of rotation. And down. And up. 6 more. Making sure you're breathing. 4. 3. 2. And last one. And then come all the way in, and then come to the center. Turn your block so that it is the short way. The long side will be on your thighs. You're going to bring your hands behind your head, and you're going to bring both elbows onto the block. And now you're going to extend your left, right and left are really hard today. You're going to do opposite arm, opposite leg. So left arm, right leg. I did the same side. Don't do the same side. I lied. We're going to keep both arms here. And if you want, you can switch to your hands. You're just alternating legs. It's much easier with the ball. If you have the shoulder blades off the floor, great. If you don't, that's fine. You can also just get rid of the block and press your hands into the thigh that's staying still. We're only going to do 1 more to each side. And last one. Bring your knees all the way in and lower all the way down. Give yourself a little rock from one side to the other. Keep your block close, and then plant your feet down and just windshield wipe. So your feet are on the ground, your knees are falling from one side to the other, getting a little stretch in your outer hips here. Good, and then plant your feet, and then you're gonna lift your hips up and put the block underneath. From here, just make sure that your sacrum is supported, and you may adjust, a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, whatever, however you need to be nice and comfortable. From here, you're gonna lift your right leg up towards the ceiling, and you're gonna cross it over your midline towards the left. You're gonna go down, up, around, and up. Cross midline, down, around, and up. You can do this with a bent knee. Whatever whatever amount of flexed your leg is totally fine. This should not hurt or be clicking uncomfortably in your joint. And your left leg is nice and still. You're supporting yourself and are staying nice and stable. 2. And last one. Pause at the top. Reverse out the other way. Cross and up. Falls out to the side, cross, and up. 5 more. 3, 2, and last one. Good. And then lower that right leg down, left leg come into tabletop, and then extend to whatever amount of bend you like. Cross it over the midline, and then lower down away from you. Bring it out, around, and up. Cross it over, down, around, and up. Really keeping that femur nice and heavy. Ooh, don't kick paintings nearby. In your hip. And last one in this direction. Right leg is staying nice and stable. And then reverse the direction. Down, around, and up. For 3, 2, and last one. Extend your left leg, or keep your left leg extended, then bring your right leg in. You can bend your knees in. Make sure you're nice and comfortable on that block. And you're going to glue your heels together. Then you're going to externally rotate. So whatever turnout your feet are, your knees should match it. So they should be right in line with the toes. And then comfortably turned out from the hip rather than the knees or the feet. Squeeze the heels together. And then extend your legs. Think like you're zipping your inner thighs together. And then resist to bring them back in. And then extend. And back in. Think about zipping them together, that lift of the pelvic floor. And then also a little wrap, as though your outer thighs are just wrapping out. Moving nice and slowly here. 2 more. Last one. And then bring the legs all the way out. And then lift them up just an inch or so. Open them a few inches apart, and then you're going to cross at the thigh. And then open them to a little V, and then cross. And then open, and cross. And open, and cross. For 5, 4, 3, relaxing that upper body, 2, last one, bend the legs in, and then grab onto your right shin and extend your left leg down. You can bring that right leg out towards your armpit, really reaching through that left leg, getting a nice stretch to the hip flexor. We're going to go back to bridging in a moment. And then slide that left leg in, grab onto your shin, and extend the right leg long. Reach through the heel on the right leg, or the toe, either way. And then you can bring that left leg a little out to the side and up toward your armpit if that feels good. Or we get a nice hip flexor stretch. And slide that leg in, and then lift up your hips. Take that block out and peel your spine all the way back down. Slide the block underneath your right foot. You can adjust as we go, however you need. We're going to do some single leg bridging with your foot on the right leg. And then lift yourself up into a bridge. The key here of having your feet at different heights is that your hips still remain parallel. And we're just going to lower down and lift. Tap of the hips onto the floor and lift up. If this range of motion is not comfortable, just find one that is a little smaller, or just remove the block at any time. For 3, 2, last one. Press the weight into your right side without shifting your hips over to the right, and bring that left leg up into tabletop. If this is too much, you're going to keep your left toes on the ground, but try to keep all that weight in your right side. And then from here, just going to tap your hips down and lift. For 6, 5, 4, hips are square. 3, 2, last one, pause at the top. If you can, with that foot in tabletop, you're just gonna open it out to the side and resist it back in. Let it fall out to the left and resist back in. The hips still stay square. And out. 4 more. 3. If you need, drop your hips to the ground. 2. Last one. And then bend your leg in towards your chest. Lower your hips down. And then press your hips up, extend the leg. And then bend it in. And press and extend. And bend in. And extend. For 4. 3. 2. Last one. Lower that left leg down. Square the hips. And then peel yourself all the way down. Slide that block to the center and then over to your left foot. Again, adjust as you need. And then lift the hips up once you're in. Same thing, tapping the hips down and lift. Left foot is now higher than the right. Hips are square. And down and up for 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, pause at the top. And then from here, float that right leg up into tabletop. And then lower the hips down and lift. Keeping that right leg nice and still for 4, 3, 2. Last one, pause at the top, letting that right leg just fall out to the side and resist from bringing it back to center line. And then resist it falling out and then bring it back in. Checking in with those hips. Your right hip hasn't started to hike up towards your shoulder and they're nice and square to the ceiling. 2 more. Last one. And then from here, bring that knee into your chest, lower your hips down, press and extend. Bend in and press and lift for 6, 5, pressing your arms into the ground, using your whole arm for stability. 3, 2, and last one. Lower that right leg all the way down and then peel yourself down 1 vertebrae at a time. Bring that block to the middle, grabbing onto it with a little squeeze of both feet. Knees are parallel, and then just peel yourself up 1 vertebrae at a time. Give that block a little squeeze all the way from the pelvic floor and inner thighs. If you like, bring your arms all the way overhead. Get a nice stretch in that upper back. And then you can leave them there or bring them back down as you peel 1 vertebrae at a time all the way down. And then push the block out of the way for a moment. Roll over onto your side. And then press yourself up. Good. So bringing the block towards the front of your mat just so you have access to it. You're going to come onto your left side. And you're just going to have your legs stacked one on top of the other, heels in line with your glutes. You can be on your hand or on your forearm, your choice. Either way. Thinking about lifting that left side away from the floor. And then if you can see, my elbow is sliding away from me, thinking about pulling it under, same as with the heels of their hands to really engage through that underside and around my shoulder. You're just going to float that the right top leg up and open, and then resist it back down. And float it up and down. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. And then lift the whole leg up, extend it long, and resist it back in. Just keeping it in line. So here you're in a nice long line as though you could stand on that leg. You're extended through the hip and resist it back in. For 4, 3, feeling that little squeeze through the back of the leg, thinking you have a rubber band from the heel all the way to the sitting bone and you don't want to snap yourself. 2. Last one, leave that leg long. Externally rotate and internally rotate. And external and internal. If you need to bring your leg a little bit farther in front rather than straight in line underneath you, that's totally fine. Go to wherever you get a comfortable range of motion, being able to do this internal and external rotation. 2 more. Last one. And then lower that leg down and then lift and lower down and lift. This is your leg is now at a slight angle for 4, 3, 2, last one. And then bring it in line with your hip. You're going to send your bottom leg with it, and you can stack your You can stack your feet, or you can have one in front of the other, your call. And you're going to lift your top arm up. If you prefer to be on one knee, that's totally fine. Either way, press down into the floor so much that you pop up into a nice side plank. And then you're going to reach your right arm underneath as you rotate your hips towards the floor. And then uncurl yourself. And then rotate underneath and uncurl yourself. Don't let that elbow slide away from you. 4 more. 3. And open. 2. And last one. And then lower all the way down. Bend those knees in and then just side bend up and over to the right. Press through the heel of the hand and rotate as though you're pressing against a wall for leverage. You can do the same with your right hand on the ground or your legs. And then come all the way up and spin around to the other side. Legs are bent to start. Again, don't let that elbow start to come away from you. Really keep it underneath you. From that draw in of the underside getting activated, really think about lifting up through the right side. You're going to come into a little clamshell, externally rotating and back down. Think that you are up against a wall with your hips. So when you open, you're not opening your hips. You're staying nice and stable through the pelvis. I find a hand on my hips is super helpful for this. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Float that leg up, and then reach down through the leg, extend it long, and then resist to bring it back in. And then extend like you're gonna squeeze your finger with between your hamstring and the glute area where they meet. And back in. And extend. And back in. 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Leave it long. If you need, bring it a little forward, and then you're going to internally and externally rotate. Same thing. If you're leaning against a wall with those hips, you're not changing the pressure, you're not opening up. It's just the femur rotating. Keep pressing the floor away for 3, 2, last one. And then lower that leg down at that slight angle and lift for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more. And last one. Lower that leg down, bring it in line with you, and then stack the feet in whatever position you prefer for a side plank, or leave the bottom leg down, and then lift up, reach through that top arm, keep pressing the floor away, and then twist and rotate. Bring that left arm underneath you, and up, and down, and up. 6 more. Breathing, really just gently rotating around that bottom arm, trying not to fall. 2 more. And last one. And gently lower all the way down, slide the legs in, and then side bend up and over to the left. Same thing, you can press that imaginary wall with the right hand, your legs are floor with your left hand, whatever you need here to get a nice stretch. And then coming all the way up. You're gonna come onto all fours, block out of the way, And then find yourself, actually, take the block and pop it in between your inner thighs, because we have it. So, you're in all fours, your toes now are tucked under. You're gonna take a nice big inhale, and then exhale, lift the knees, float them off the floor, find a nice bear plank here. Take a nice big inhale, and then on your exhale, lower all the way down. We're just gonna do 2 more like this, holding for a breath. And back down. And here you can think about externally rotating your arms, drawing those heels of your hands toward your knees, really engage through the whole back, and you're lifted. And then drop back down. Good. And then from here, you're gonna lift up and give the block a little squeeze for 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. And then lower all the way down. Here you have the option to lift your knees or not, or switch halfway through. We're gonna move our arms though. So you're gonna lift your right arm up and lower it down, and lift your left arm and lower down. Trying to minimize the weight shift as much as possible. It's hard. Giving that block a little squeeze. One more time with the right. One more time with the left. Lower all the way down. And then take that block out from underneath you. We are done with it. Put it off to the side. One last bear plank. Oh, excuse me. Lifting up, reaching through those heels. And then from here, you're just going to extend your right leg back. And then your left leg, curl the tailbone under, find your plank. If you need to be on your knees, no problem. Either way, holding that plank. Now you're going to bring one leg in. And then the other, and find that bear plank. Switching legs, left leg goes out, right leg goes out. Find your plank, either one. Lift the knees, bring the left leg in, right leg in, and lower all the way down. Give your wrists just a second. Give them a little roll out from one side to the other. And then, last time, finding your plank. One leg out, find that nice support through the back, the side body, and the abdominals. And then you can bend your knees if you need, but you're going to bend your elbows back towards you 1 inch or all the way, and then press up, and then lower down, and press. Taking your pelvis with you. It's not leading you. Neither is your head. For 6, 5, 4, do them well rather than trying to do the hardest one you can. 2, and last one. And then sit back onto your heels, bring your knees nice and wide. And then just let yourself melt into the mat. Roll your wrists out again, 1 or 2 times in each direction. And then from here, reach your fingertips as far away from you as you can. And then bend at the elbow. You may find you need to walk your elbows away from you. And then just bring your hands to your upper back right between your shoulder blades or your neck, wherever they reach. And you can walk your elbows forward a little bit more, getting a stretch through the armpits. You can switch which hand is on top. And then reach the arms out long and send them over to the right, and then press the floor away. As you sink a little closer towards your heels. And then over to the left. Same thing, press the floor away. Really send your body over to the right. And then come back through tabletop. Find one last nice extension through the front of your body. Round your spine up towards the ceiling. Shift your weight back into your heels. Curl those toes under. Find yourself in a down dog. Bend your knees a whole bunch if you need, and then walk your hands to your feet. And then like we started, just let your head be heavy. Knees are nice and soft. And then peel the spine up 1 vertebrae at a time. Hands are heavy, head is heavy. And then just stack your spine up. And then let your head find yourself on its spine, your spine. And then come up with your arms lifting onto your toes. Externally rotate the arms, press down through the arms, grow tall through the crown of your head as you lower all the way down through the feet. And you are all finished. Thanks.